Have you ever tried to ship a package to or from the Canary Islands? You know the feeling, right? It can feel like you're lost in some kind of bureaucratic maze. But what if you had the map? Well, in this explainer, we're going to break down Canary Islands customs step by step so you can navigate it like a pro.
So what makes the Canaries so different anyway? I mean, geographically, they're part of Spain. They're in the EU. But when it comes to taxes and customs, well, they're kind of in a world of their own. That special status is exactly why sending a package from Madrid to Tenerife is a completely different ballgame than sending one to Barcelona.
So why all the complexity? It's the source of so many headaches and shipping delays. You know, you click buy on a website, and suddenly it feels like you're facing a mountain of paperwork. The reason, though, is actually pretty specific, and it all boils down to one key detail.
And here it is. This is the one sentence that explains everything. The Canary Islands are in the EU Customs Union, so no tariffs on goods from Europe. But, and this is the big but, they're outside the EU's VAT territory. This dual status basically creates a tax border right in the middle of the European Union.
Okay, so to get through this system, you need the right toolkit. Let's break down the essential documents and the lingo you're going to hear over and over. And try not to think of them as bureaucratic hurdles. Think of them as the gear you need to make your journey smooth. First up, the DUA. You'll see this acronym everywhere. It stands for Single Administrative Document, and honestly, the best way to think of it is as the official passport for your goods. It declares exactly what you're moving, what it's worth, and why. It's the absolute cornerstone of any formal shipment.
Now, for smaller stuff, there's a shortcut, which is great news. The H7 is a simplified express declaration for any shipments valued at less than 150 euros. This is a lifesaver for personal packages and small online purchases because it really streamlines the whole process. And what's really cool here is that you can often take control of the process yourself. Auto-despacho or self-clearance is the system that allows you to fill out and submit your own customs forms for certain packages. It really empowers you to handle things directly and, it can save you some money.
All right, let's actually trace the journey. We're going to follow a package from the second it lands in the Canary Islands all the way to your front door. Understanding this flow makes the whole thing a lot less mysterious.
So here's the path your package takes. First, it arrives and gets put into temporary storage. Then its passport, the DUA we just talked about, gets submitted. Next, it might face some special checks before the final steps. The taxes are paid, and poof, your goods are released for delivery.
So, what are those extra controls? Well, think of them as specialized checkpoints. Are you importing food or cosmetics? That's going to be a sanitary check. Plants or seeds? That's a phytosanitary inspection. Animal products get an animal health control. And finally, the SOIVE service checks a bunch of other products for quality and safety.
And this is the reality behind the scenes. While you're sitting there hitting refresh on your tracking page, all these steps are happening to make sure that everything coming into the islands is safe, compliant, and correctly declared.
Now, when it comes to paying taxes, there are two main ones to know about. First is the IGIC, which is basically the Canary Islands version of VAT, just usually at a lower rate. And then there's the AEAM. This one's a special tax on certain imported goods that are also produced locally, and it's designed to protect the island's own industries. Okay, so that's stuff coming in, but what about the other direction? Let's flip the script and look at exporting from the Canary Islands. The process is different, especially for e-commerce businesses that are selling to customers on the European mainland. The export process starts with getting your paperwork in order, especially that commercial invoice. Then you submit an export DUA. From there, customs assigns your shipment to a circuit. Green means you're good to go. Orange means they need to check your documents. And red, well, red means a physical inspection of the goods before they're allowed to leave.
Okay, for anyone running an online store from the Canaries, listen up, because this is huge. Since you are shipping from a non-VAT territory into the EU's VAT territory, someone has to deal with the VAT of the destination. And how you manage this makes all the difference for your customer.
And for your customer, man, the difference is just night and day. On one hand, without using the iOS system, they get a nasty surprise, a notice in the mail telling them they owe unexpected VAT and fees. Not good. But with iOS, you handle all of that at checkout. For the customer, the package just arrives. No surprises, no extra fees, just a happy buyer. This really is the key takeaway from modern e-commerce from the islands. iOSS, which stands for Import One-Stop Shop, is an absolute game changer for customer experience on those lower value shipments. It turns a potential negative into a smooth, totally professional transaction.
Okay, we have covered a ton of ground. Let's bring it all together with a few final actionable tips to make sure your next customs experience is a total success.
Remember, you have a choice in how you clear your packages. For simple, personal stuff, Auto Despacho is a fantastic way to save a bit of cash. But if you're a business or you're dealing with a really complicated shipment, hiring a professional customs agent is an investment that will save you time, stress, and some very costly mistakes.
You know, when it comes down to it, success in customs is all about one thing: preparation. Having your documents accurate, understanding the rules for your specific product, and just knowing the process ahead of time. That is your most powerful tool. It's what turns a potential nightmare into a smooth-flowing procedure.
So let's run through a final checklist. If you're a business, get an EORE number. Always have that commercial invoice ready. Know your product. Does it need special checks? Selling to the EU? Use the IOSS. And finally, just keep records of everything.
By understanding this unique system, its rules, its documents, and its logic, you're no longer just a recipient or a sender who's crossing their fingers. You're an informed navigator. So, with all that in mind, are you ready to conquer customs?